There are moments in life when you feel like you're ready for the breakthrough, the promotion, the healing, the relationship, the restoration. But nothing's happening. You've prayed, you've believed, you've waited, and yet God seems silent. Let me tell you something today. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. God's delays are not his denials. He's not ignoring you. He's preparing you. And his timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match your calendar. Sometimes we confuse God didn't do it yet with God won't do it at all. But here's what you need to understand. God operates outside of your deadlines. He's not bound by what you see, feel, or expect. If he gave you a promise, he's faithful to fulfill it, but in his time. Trust is built not when everything makes sense, but when you can't trace God's hand. You still choose to trust his heart. You may feel stuck in a season that doesn't look like the prophecy, but God doesn't waste seasons. The waiting room is not punishment, it's preparation. God knows what he put inside you, and he knows exactly when to release it. If he gave it too soon, it might crush you. But when the timing is right, it'll launch you. So stop pacing, stop doubting, stop comparing your timeline to theirs. God's plan for you is customized. What you think is a delay might just be divine alignment. And while you're waiting, God is working. While you're wondering, God is weaving. And when he moves, he doesn't take steps. He takes leaps. You didn't miss it. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not forgotten. You're right where you need to be, in the palm of the one who holds time itself. God doesn't need your clock. He needs your faith. And when the moment comes, you'll look back and say, I'm glad it didn't happen when I wanted it to, because this is better than I could have imagined. Trust his timing. God, he's never late. Not ever. God's delay is not his denial. We've all had moments where it felt like heaven had gone silent. You prayed, fasted, believed, waited, and still nothing changed. It's in those exact moments that the enemy whispers that God forgot you or it's not going to happen. But I want to tell you today with absolute certainty, God's delay is not his denial. Just because he hasn't moved yet doesn't mean he won't move. His silence doesn't mean absence. Just timing doesn't bow to pressure, it flows from purpose. Sometimes God delays because he's doing something deeper in you before he does something great through you. If he gave you the blessing before you were ready, it wouldn't bless you. It would break you. You may think you're ready, but God sees what you can't see. He sees the motives. He sees the traps. He sees the battles you'll face tomorrow. So in his mercy, he withholds what you're asking for until what's inside of you can carry the weight of it. It's not rejection, it's refinement. When you don't understand the delay, trust the designer. God isn't making it up as he goes. Every detail of your destiny is being written with precision. You may be in chapter 5 begging for a plot twist, but God is already in chapter 10, setting up something better than you would have asked for. Don't confuse a slow season with a dead one. God does some of his best work in the dark. Seeds don't grow under spotlights, they grow underground. Think of Lazarus. Jesus intentionally waited 4 days after he died. Why? Because if he had come sooner, it would have been a healing. But by waiting, it became a resurrection. Some delays in your life are not denials, they're upgrades. What you think God should have done yesterday, he's actually holding back because he's planning to blow your mind tomorrow. His no for now is really a wait. I've got something greater. We tend to measure God's faithfulness by how quickly he moves. But God measures timing by maturity, alignment, and kingdom impact. If he waited to answer your prayer, it's because the impact of it was still growing. The longer it takes, the deeper it goes. And when he releases it, it'll be like nothing you've seen before. Don't rush what God is still building. It's not late, it's just loading. The devil wants you to give up in the delay. He wants to convince you that because it didn't happen in your timing, it's not going to happen at all. But remember, Satan doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him. The delay is proof that what you're waiting on is worth the wait. The fight you're in is not over nothing, it's over something divine. So don't let a slow season steal your faith. Look back at your life. Some of the things you cried over not receiving were actually God's way of protecting you. Some of the doors you begged him to open were keeping you from walking into something worse. And now, in hindsight, you're glad he said no. That same God who protected you then is the one guiding your path now. You might not see the full picture, but you can trust the hands that are painting it. So yes, it's taking longer than you thought. Yes, it feels like everyone else is getting there faster. Yes, the silence is loud. But none of that changes the truth. God's delay is not his denial. The blessing is not canceled. It's just being customized. The door is not locked. It's just being carved. The promise is not broken. It's just being birthed. And when it comes, it'll come with glory, power, and timing that only God could have orchestrated. One of the hardest lessons in faith is realizing that understanding is not a prerequisite for obedience. We want clarity, explanations, step-by-step outlines. But God doesn't hand out blueprints. He gives promises. He says, trust me, not to let me explain everything first. That's because the process God is taking you through is too big for your understanding to carry. But it's perfectly shaped for your faith to walk through. Think about Abraham. God told him to go to land he would show him. Not a full address, no GPS, just to go. Imagine packing up your entire life based on a promise, not a plan. That's what trust looks like. God rarely reveals the whole journey, because if he did, many of us would disqualify ourselves before we ever started. He's not interested in making you comfortable. He's interested in growing your faith. God's plan isn't always logical, but it's always intentional. There will be moments when his instructions feel confusing, when he tells you to forgive someone who hurt you, to walk away from something you thought you needed, to start something new with no guarantee. It won't always make sense, but obedience isn't about agreement. Obedience is about alignment. You don't need full understanding to move in full faith. The reason some of us feel stuck is because we're waiting on understanding to start moving. But let me tell you, faith moves first, and often clarity comes after obedience, not before. The path lights up as you take the step. That's how God builds trust, not by giving you all the answers, but by proving he's trustworthy when you have none. He's not hiding the plan from you. He's hiding it for you until you're ready to carry it. You've got to stop needing every detail before you move. Sometimes God will give you a glimpse, a whisper, a push, and then go silent. That silence isn't a test of your intelligence. It's a test of your trust. Will you keep walking when you can't see the whole map? Will you believe he's working even when it looks like nothing's happening? The process will stretch you. It will confuse you. It will sometimes scare you, but it will never fail you. If God is in it, every delay, every detour, every closed door is shaping you into the person who can handle the promise. The reason you can't see the full picture is because God's still painting it. And if he showed you everything right now, it would either overwhelm you or make you try to control it. You don't have to understand the how to trust the who. Who? That's where peace comes from. Not in figuring it all out, but in knowing that the one writing your story has never failed and never will. You may not know what's next, but you can know this. If God brought you this far, he's not about to abandon you now. So trust the process even when it feels unclear. Obey even when it feels risky, and walk even when it feels uncertain. Because when God writes the plan, your job isn't to understand it. Your job is to trust it. We often ask God for elevation, for breakthrough, for blessing, for favor, but we rarely ask for preparation. Yet that's the very thing God is most concerned with. Because promotion without preparation is pressure you're not built to carry. And God loves you too much to take you somewhere your character can't keep you. Before he promotes you publicly, he prepares you privately. Look at David. He was anointed king as a teenager, but he didn't sit on the throne until years later. What happened in between? Preparation. He fought lions and bears in private before he ever faced Goliath in public. He learned how to serve Saul before he ever led anyone himself. That delay wasn't wasted time. It was development time. God was shaping a shepherd boy into a king, and he did it in the fields, not the palace. Sometimes we see delay as punishment, but often it's protection. You think you're ready, but are you really? Are you ready to carry the weight of the influence you're asking for? Are you ready for the spiritual warfare that comes with the platform? Are you rooted deeply enough that when the spotlight comes, you won't fall over from the pressure? That's what preparation is about. Building the foundation before God adds the floors. The wilderness is not where dreams die. It's where leaders are made. Ask Moses, ask Jesus, ask Joseph. Before the breakthrough, there's always a back room. A season where God works on your heart, your habits, your humility. And if you skip that, you might arrive at the destination, but you won't last there. God's process is not just about where He's taking you, but who you're becoming on the way. Promotion in the kingdom doesn't work like the world's. In the world, promotion comes from performance. But with God, promotion comes from preparation and obedience. You don't manipulate your way into it. You mature your way into it. You don't strive, you submit. And when the time is right, no person, no devil, no delay can stop what God has prepared for you. The reason some doors haven't opened yet is not because you're being punished, but because God is still building something in you. Don't despise the practice season. What feels hidden now is actually holy. The hidden season is where roots grow. It's where confidence is built. It's where your identity is anchored. So that when the opportunity comes, you know it's God and not you. God knows what He's doing. He's not holding you back, He's holding you together. Every lesson, every delay, every quiet day is molding you for what's ahead. And when the time comes, you won't have to force it. You won't have to fake it. You'll just step into it because you were prepared for it. So if you're in a season of preparation, don't fight it. Lean into it. The pressure you feel today is not the enemy. It's the evidence that God is building something in you for what He's about to do through you. And when the promotion comes, you'll be ready. Not because it was easy, but because God made you strong enough to carry it. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy your peace, your purpose, and your progress. You can be walking confidently in your lane until you look to the left or the right and start asking, why are they further than me? Why did they get blessed and I'm still waiting? The moment you compare, you start questioning the pace of your own story. And that's dangerous because comparison never tells the full truth. You don't know the cost of someone else's calling. You don't know the battles they had to fight or the pain they had to endure to get to where they are. What you're admiring might be the highlight reel of a journey full of hidden scars. But when you compare, you reduce your own progress to a scoreboard instead of seeing it through the lens of God's purpose. Your story is not meant to be duplicated. It's designed by God, customized just for you. The problem is we often want their results without their process. We want their breakthrough without their burdens. But God doesn't bless imitation. He blesses authenticity. He doesn't want you to run their race. He wants you to stay faithful in yours. When you start comparing timelines, you rob yourself of the joy of your own testimony. Because what's happening for them doesn't cancel what God is doing in you. Comparison will either make you prideful or pitiful, and neither leads to purpose. You'll either think you're ahead and start judging others, or think you're behind and start doubting God. That's why the Bible says to fix your eyes on Jesus, not your neighbor, not your coworker, not your classmate, not the influencer on Instagram. Jesus is your pace setter. If He's walking, don't run. If He's running, don't sit. Move with Him, not them. You were never meant to bloom on their schedule. Just because they're reaping now doesn't mean your seed is dead. God grows different things at different rates. Some trees take years before they ever sprout, but when they do, they outlast everything around them. So while you're looking around, God is saying, oh, look up. I'm doing something new in you, but it's gonna happen on my time, not theirs. It's not a race, it's a walk of faith. And every time you compare, you delay your own growth. You stop watering your soil because you're too busy watching theirs. But hear this, what God has for you is yours. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to envy it. You just have to stay faithful to your assignment. He's not slow, He's strategic. You're not late. You're not overlooked. You're not behind. You're being built. While you're looking at their harvest, God is growing your roots. And when He brings your season, it won't be small. It'll be supernatural. But you can't receive it while wishing you had theirs. Let go of comparison. Reclaim your confidence. Trust God's timeline, not Instagram. So stop scrolling and start sowing. Stop watching and start worshiping. Stop waiting for someone else's pace and start moving at God's whisper. Because when you're running with the rhythm of His grace, you won't feel behind. You'll feel right on time. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle and hates stillness. We're told if we're not moving, we're not making progress. But in God's kingdom, waiting doesn't mean wasting. In fact, the wait is often where the real work is done. God does more in the silent spaces than we realize. He's not just preparing the blessing for you, He's preparing you for the blessing. Waiting is not inactivity, it's interactivity. It's where trust is tested, character is refined, pride is crushed, and faith is deepened. When God puts you in a holding pattern, He's not punishing you. He's developing something inside of you that you'll need once you reach the next level. Waiting seasons are working seasons, but the work happens in your soul. It's in the wait where God teaches you how to listen. When He strips away distractions, delays your desired outcome, and teaches you how to recognize His whisper in the quiet. Sometimes He has to slow down the external so He can awaken something internal. Your ability to hear Him in the stillness is what will sustain you in the storm later. Waiting teaches you how to depend on Him without seeing the outcome. Think about Noah. God gave him a word to build an ark, and then he waited years before it ever rained. Imagine hammering wood every day while people laughed, questioned, mocked. But Noah kept building. Why? Because obedience doesn't need results to keep moving. It just needs a word from God. That's what the wait does. It strengthens your resolve to trust what He said, even when nothing looks like it's working. The wait reveals motives. Are you following God because you want something from Him, or because you trust Him, even without immediate results? The wait is where the gold is separated from the glitter. You can fake passion in public, but in the wait, what's real is revealed. And God blesses what's real. That's why He uses the wait to purify your heart and anchor your identity in Him, not in outcomes. We often pray, God, use me. And He says, okay, wait. Because He knows the person who learns how to wait well is the person who will steward influence well. Waiting teaches endurance. It builds spiritual stamina. It stretches your ability to believe in the unseen. And once you've waited well, you won't crumble when the pressure comes, because you've already been tempered in trust. Waiting is hard. It's frustrating. It messes with your emotions and tests your timelines. But listen, if God has you waiting, He's working. The silence doesn't mean He's absent. It means He's up to something deeper, something lasting. And while you're questioning the delay, He's building the foundation for your destiny. So don't curse the wait. Embrace it. Learn in it. Grow through it. Because the wait isn't holding you back, it's actually launching you forward. And when the appointed time comes, you'll realize the wait was the most powerful part of the work. There will be seasons in life where it feels like nothing is moving. Your prayers feel unanswered. Your progress feels invisible. Your energy feels drained. And you start wondering, am I stuck? But what if I told you that what you think is stagnation is actually strategy from heaven? What if God has you in a holding space? Not because He's forgotten you, but because He's positioning you. When it feels like nothing's changing around you, that's often when God is changing everything within you. See, God is not in a rush. He's not moved by pressure. He's not controlled by clocks. He's moved by purpose. And if He needs to slow down your external momentum to build up your internal strength, He will. What you call stuck, God calls still. And sometimes being still is the most strategic move He can make in your life. Look at the children of Israel when they reached the Red Sea. To them, it looked like a dead end. They were trapped, Pharaoh behind them, ocean in front of them. They thought they were stuck, but God was setting the stage for a miracle. If they hadn't come to that place, they would have never known the power of a sea-splitting God. Being stuck positioned them to see a side of God they never would have discovered in motion. You might feel like you're not moving forward, but you're not out of purpose. You're in the middle of it. God often brings us to what feels like a standstill so He can adjust our perspective, remove distractions, or set divine appointments we can't see. Stuck doesn't mean stalled. It may mean strategic recalibration. Sometimes He parks you so He can reroute you. The danger of mislabeling this season is that you'll start forcing outcomes God never ordained. You'll get restless. You'll start opening doors he never told you to knock on. You'll try to unstick yourself with your own strength. And that's when chaos enters. But if you can discern that the pause is on purpose, you'll stop striving and start surrendering. This season may be less about doing more and more about trusting deeper. God is not trying to get you out of the stuck place. He's trying to get something in you while you're there. The stuck place might be the very environment where you learn to worship without answers, where your identity gets untangled from achievement, and where your faith grows roots instead of wings. Sometimes the stuck place is actually the safest place, because it's where God shields you from opportunities that aren't for you, relationships that would ruin you, and pressures that would crush you. It's where he hides you until the right time. So don't despise the silence. Don't curse the slow. God is not finished. He's being strategic. So the next time you feel stuck, shift your prayer from a God, get me out